What's up everybody? I've had a few requests on how I record guitar, so this is going to be a video on recording guitar in Ableton Live, the hardware that I use and the setup that I use in Ableton, as well as looping guitar in Ableton. So I'll go over how to use the looper and a couple of tips on being able to edit the looper after recording a live session, and how best to use it for a smooth looping. I'll drop the project file for free download below, but be sure to watch the video first just to see what everything does and why everything's there. So I'll start off by going over the hardware, then Ableton settings, looping settings, and that'll be it. So I'll try and keep it quick. So yeah, hardware. I'm actually recording direct, which means that I've got my guitar plugged straight into my audio interface, which is then plugged into my computer, and that records direct into Ableton, and then through Ableton I add the amp simulations, any effects, and that sort of thing. I did actually try starting miking up initially. I had a Shure SM58 mic and a little valve amp that I really like the tone out of. However, it was a bit of a nightmare to record in my home studio. I was getting a lot of interference noise miking up. There was a really loud hum and background noise I couldn't get rid of just because of the lack of quality equipment that I had. Cat's really annoying. Every time I record a take, the cat would be meowing, and you could hear that in the recording. So if you've got a home studio, recording with a mic can be really difficult. I would definitely recommend recording direct. Another benefit of recording direct is if you really wanted to, you could run the sound through an amp and record it again later. So you've got the flexibility, and also if you don't like the sort of current sound of the direct recording, you can always tweak it later. You've got the initial direct recording that you can play around with. So it's really the best thing to do in most home studios, I would say. So yeah, got the guitar plugged straight in to the audio interface. So I've got the Focusrite. Got the Focusrite Solo. I think it's the first generation. I've had it for quite a while now. So I can plug my guitar direct in. It's also got a mic input, and I can plug it into my monitors. So yeah, it's a great piece of kit. I can change the level, the level of recording of my guitar. So sometimes if you're using like a bass, it can be really loud. You can tweak it right down. So yeah, they're really good. I'll link this one in the description below. I think it's on the 3rd gen now. I've also used the M Audio interface. Can't remember which one it was. Quite a cheap one. Also sounded good. I think with audio interfaces, my experience, they're all pretty decent. The main thing is what you do with the sound afterwards. So as long as it's got a guitar input, then it'll be able to boost the sound and put it into Ableton. So yeah, I'll link a few in the description below. You don't need to spend a lot on the audio interface. You can spend more. The quality will be probably slightly better, maybe a cleaner boost. But yeah, certainly it's not a necessity. If you can find a cheap one in a second-hand shop and it's got a guitar input, it'll probably be okay. So yeah, that's all you need hardware-wise. So, just opened up Ableton. What you're going to want to do is, after you've plugged in your audio interface, make sure you've got all the drivers. I know Focusrite has got a tutorial on setting up in Ableton. I assume the others are something similar. But what you want to do is when you open up Ableton, go to your preferences, make sure your driver type is set to the correct type. So ASIO, and then audio device, the Focusrite USB Solo. Then you're going to find an audio track, and you're going to make sure that you can see the audio inform, and then make sure you've got the guitar input in. So for me, number 2. And if you click on in, you can hear the guitar input. So the first thing I do is get a tuner and to stick it on the start. The guitar is out of tune. There you go. So first thing you've got your guitar sound coming in. It's the raw sound. It doesn't sound great. I mean, it sounds alright. Sounds alright. It's not what we want. So what you need to do is get that amp simulation. So first thing you need is the amp, and I usually go for a blues drive, just give it a bit of warmth and drive. So there you go, you've got your first blues drive. You can mess about with these, there's all sorts of different tones. I usually prefer sticking with the blues, it's just got that warmth, and then I also add on some effects in a minute. After that you're going to add your cabinet. So these were designed to be used together. So with this you can sort of pick your favourite amp and try and copy it. So I'm going to use one 12-inch cab, and I usually like to set the microphone to a dynamic mic, which you can see on the left is a bit grittier, more commonly used when close micing guitar. I'm going to have near off-axis. So off-axis is a little bit darker, it's not as bright if you're having it on centre, slightly warmer tone. So straight away we've got a much nicer sound. So usually I just group them together. So that's the amp simulation. Then on top of that, I like to add a bit of saturation. I usually use, so a bit warmer, I usually throw that on. Adds a little bit of saturation to it. Reduce the drive a bit, and then some reverb. Not too much. And then I like to throw a bit of EQ, and there are some decent guitar presets as well on Ableton. So, instruments, electric Git 1. And the bass is a bit heavy, so I'm just going to tone this down slightly. That's literally all there is to it for my sound. In terms of the amp and cab, there's a lot of plugins you can use. So to be fair, the Ableton stock plugins are pretty decent. But there's also things like Amplitude 3, which I sometimes use, which is also pretty nice. But yeah, there's loads. Okay, so on to looping. With the looper, there's two places you can put it. You can put it before the chain or after the chain. So if you're putting it after the chain, it means that every time you record a loop, it'll record the whole chain of effect. So if you want to do something like record a loop, then turn delay on, and then record the next loop with delay, but without the first one having delay on, you'd want to put it at the end. But with that, when you sort of come back to edit the loop, so all the effects are recorded in, you can't change them later. However, if you put it at the start of the sequence, then when you come to edit the sounds afterwards, you can tweak what effects are on which layers with this method that I'm going to use. So I'll drop it at the front, and then usually I decide what the loop's going to be before I start recording it. So usually on this record bit, it's how long the loop's going to be. So if you know that you're going to record 1 bar, you can click 1 bar. You can also keep it on X bars, and then when you stop it, it will just loop from what you already recorded. But I like to already pick that way because I don't have a foot pedal at the moment. I don't have to stop playing to click reloop. It'll just loop after 4 bars, or 1 bar, whatever it is. So I'll pick 1 bar for this, and then you've got this little plus icon. If you click on that, it'll change to a play or a plus. So what that means is if it's plus, then once the loop's stopped, overdub will start and you can carry on playing without pressing record again. However, if you press play, then when you finish the 1 bar, you can solo over it and it won't start recording into the looper. So for this, I will leave it at play. That way then I can decide when I want to start the next loop. And then the quantization, you can leave it at global. I usually put it on 2 bars, so I can count in when I'm going to start the loop. So if I press record, then I know 2 bars later the loop will start. I don't have to press record and then quickly start playing. Gives me time to sort of get ready to play whatever it is I'm going to play. And you've got a couple of other options which I tend not to tweak too much with. The song control, I usually follow song tempo. So when I hit record, now it's looping, and now because it's yellow, I know that it's not recorded. So anything I play now will not be overdubbed. But if I press this, then I can overdub again. once I've done it a second time, it stays blue because I've got to press the play button again to stop it from overdubbing. So anything I play now will still be recorded until I press play. And now it's frozen and it's not going to play. It's not going to record anything I play. And there's a few things you can do with the button. So if you double tap it, it'll stop. I can play it again. And if I tap it once and then hold the next tap, it'll delete. It's pretty similar to the Ditto Looper pedal as well. Don't know if anyone's had that. It's the same idea. So another cool trick you can do with this as well, which I usually do when I'm recording a live loop. So you've got your audio track with the loop, and it's getting sent to the master track. And I've got both on auto. So what I can do now is when I press record, press loop, record my first layer. What's happening now is the looper is sending it through the chain and then to master, which is playing the loop back. And then this track is basically blank. So what I can do is I can press overdub. Press play, that's looping. Again, that's going through there, which is fine. So then, when I finish my loop and I press stop, I can go back, and here we have the loop on the master track as it sounded when it was playing back, and we've also got the audio that we recorded. So this is the direct audio before it's been flattened and gone through the chain. So now we can go and we can duplicate this, turn that off. You can have the first layer, which I can duplicate. So we've got that loop here, but I can go on and I can change the effect. So if I want it to be less bassy, I could do that, and then I could add some audio effects. Throw a delay on there, and I've got this loop with audio effects. I can go onto this layer, and I can loop the bottom bar as well. I can do something else to this. Keep this as it was, and then now I've got the two layers, and I can edit them. I never made a mistake on one of the layers that was bugging me. I could go in and I could cut it out and then re-record it. So it's really useful if you're recording live sets and you want to be able to edit them after, or if you're like 3 minutes into recording, which always happens to me, and then you do like a bum note, you can go back and you can change it individually without having to. If it was all embedded into one loop, there's no chance of isolating that one little bit, but because you've got the stems, the original recording, you can recreate the loop, add effects, take away layers, do whatever you want to it. So it's really useful. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I've tried to cover everything pretty quickly. If there's certain elements you want me to go into more depth about, I can do. I think a lot of my guitar sounds is just playing around with different effects. Yeah, so this is like my first tutorial video, so please let me know in the comments down below how it was. Sorry if it wasn't very structured. I tried to like plan it all out and get everything out there without going into too much detail. Please remember to hit the subscribe button if you want to keep up to date with my latest content. I have got more stuff coming out. At the moment I'm doing uploads every Saturday, but the plan in the future is when I've got a bit ahead of myself to start doing it every Saturday and every Wednesday. So Wednesday could be like a free loop giveaway, or it could be like a tutorial or a loop cover. So do let me know in the comments down below what you would like to see more of. Thanks.